from England, over here for the first time in the States. And I want to talk about the reader-centered approach. That's what we call the thinking behind all the work that we do. We start from readers, not writers or collections. It's about understanding the psychology of reading, how people read, where they read, what they read, how reading fits in their lives. And it's also about understanding the physicality of choosing books. Because when you come to choose a book, some of it's in your head, how you connect with the possible book, the reading experience you're going to have, and some of it is how you reach out and touch the book, how you see it, and then how you pick it up. In our libraries, this is true in libraries across the world, we organize the books for the patrons who know what they want. Everything, the catalogue, the guiding, the way the shelves are laid out, is for people who know what they want. Staff are always friendly. If you go and ask them, they're the nicest people in the world, library staff, and a good reputation to have. But I want to talk a little bit about the people who don't know what they want and who maybe don't like asking. This is a typical American library. We've got lots like this in the UK as well. Here, you must know what you want. There's some good books on those shelves, but you've got to have faith. You have to believe there are some good books on those shelves in order to walk down and search to find them. It's not very welcoming for the browser, for the person who doesn't know what they're after. Look at this one, quite different in terms of how it presents itself for you to choose the books. You can see already there's some good things there. Our work's based on a lot of research. Some of it's library research that we've carried out in the UK. We have about 40,000 interviews with patrons of UK libraries, which have been carried out by library staff who work in those libraries. One of the things we ask is, that book that you're taking out today, what made you choose it? What actually makes patrons choose a particular book to check out, that one rather than another one? And we have overwhelmingly the answer to that: displays. More people choose from displays than from anything else in the library. If that's true, how good are your displays? How much attention do you give your displays? Have you got the right furniture to put your displays on? Many people don't have a specific author or title in mind. They just are browsing. They want you to tempt them. They're looking for something to catch the eye. We also base our work on psychological research, and here we're using American psychologists on the psychology of choice. How do people choose? And you may know this book by a very famous American psychologist. It's a great read if you want to read it. What she proves is that people find it easier to choose from smaller selections. You may know the famous jam experiment, where she went to a big New York department store, and on one day she had 3 jams you could taste and then purchase. And on the next day, they had 30 jams that you could taste and purchase. They ran it on alternate days to see which day people bought more. Which day did they buy more? Far more of them bought when there were 3 only. Because it was an easier choice to make. Now, how do we take that into our libraries? Libraries have enormous choices, row after shelf of books. How do you make smaller, manageable choices to help people find what they're really looking for? And retail research shows much the same as what our library research does. This is from Paco Underhill, the retail guru. If you don't know his books, they're absolutely fantastic reads. And what he's shown, and this is American statistics, 75% of customers in American stores choose on impulse. They're not exactly sure what they're going to buy until they get into the store, and then they decide what it is. And 50% of customers buy the first thing they touch. Now, if I was to come to your library, how long is it when I get in the door before I can touch a book? How touchable are your books? And how quickly do I arrive at being able to touch them? We need to get the books more touchable. That's part of the thinking behind this furniture. So the range I'm going to show you is about displaying books in a way that's easy to see, to touch, and to take. Here's what we call the books to go table. Books to go for people in a hurry, those people who don't know what they want, who are browsing on impulse. You can see here the books are nearly spilling out of it. This has the same function as the table in the front of a big bookstore. But what they do in the bookstores, I'm sure you've seen it, they pile them up, the multiple bestsellers, and it's very easy to make them look good because you've got a stack of books that are all the same. If you've ever tried doing that with a library book, I have, a pile of them, stack them all up, they don't look quite as good. It looks like a yard sale. It really does not look attractive. So we need something which will make lots of different books look good together, because we're never going to have 100 copies of the same book. If you ever bought 20 of the same book, it's because it's so popular, most of them will be reserved or they'll already be checked out. So you can see here this table has height built into it. The table has the height instead of the books. And it goes up like this, so each of the books is displayed face forward. There's a frame around it because that takes the eye to the centre. And each book is too deep, so if you take one off, there's another one behind, which buys you time for topping up. Here it's in quite a traditional setting, it's a quite historic library, and here it's in a modern library. It fits in equally well in both. Here's the statistics that help to prove the case for this kind of work. This is from a big library in London. It's on 6 floors, Sutton Library, London Borough of Sutton. And they created an area called page 1, which is just off the entrance as you come in. They call it page 1 like the first page of the book, and the rest of the libraries, you know, all the other pages. And you can see it's got these tables down the middle. Now, this whole area holds at any one time 850 paperbacks. That's not a lot, and because it's such a big library, that's less than 0.5% of the total collection. And every day, this 0.5% generates 30% of the fiction circ and 20% of the total circ of the library. It's done it day in, day out for the last 3 years without fail, and they have the statistics to prove it. Now that's a fantastic, I think, contribution that little area is making. If you're the 1 in 4 that knows what you want, you don't go into page 1, you go straight upstairs and you find what you want on the A to Z shelves or in the Dewey sequence. But an awful lot of people are going in here, aren't they, for that to be such a high proportion of their circ statistics. And we take that, we use it everywhere. That's quite a big library, but you can put just 1 unit in a small library, it will have the same effect. Fill it up, put it in the right place, and watch the books fly off it. As well as the table, we've got these on the stands too, you can see today, the book pods. This is a really elegant, simple unit to turn books face forward. The one on the left is single-sided, that's to go against a wall, against a pillar, across a corner. The one in the middle is double-sided, you can walk right round that, put it in the middle of a transit space. It displays books face forward, and you can see here on the bottom shelf we often use for spine-out books. We don't think the patrons will take those, that's for the staff to easily top up. So when the books are borrowed from above, you don't have to go to the back office to fill it up. It's really easy, and anybody passing, they're just going past on another job, oh, it's empty, I can just put another one in. Works really well. Here you can see the book pods in different situations. And they just look good wherever you put them. Here's a checkout. This is the main checkout of quite a large library. And they put a books to go pod and a books to go table you can see in the background. And what happens there is the people who are about to check their books out, they all take another one. As they're going out, they see something else. Oh, I fancy the look of that. And they just take another one as well. It's another very easy way to get your circ figures up. Sorry. We use them with different age groups. This is with young adults. And this is a lovely unit. I wanted to show you this one, which we have here. This we call the Book of the Day unit. And it's a little acrylic to highlight one book. Whatever book you put in there will look special. And people will take it because they think, well, it must be such a special book because it's been given this special attention. Again, it's 2D, so if you take one off, there's another one behind. And this plaque with a number of postcards, that says try something new. We have one recommended by a reader in this library, and Book of the Day. And in UK libraries, they very successfully use Book of the Day to say to patrons, if you take the Book of the Day, please will you choose another one to put in its place. And the patrons choose the Book of the Day. And that becomes a reader-to-reader recommendation, and it just carries on throughout the day. It costs you nothing, and it works a treat. I want to talk a little bit about the children's furniture we've brought on the stand today, where we're looking to put the fun back into reading. A lot of our children's libraries have got a great play space. They have a bit where the kids can have fun. It's often got a theme, like a boat, a train, a car, a castle, an aeroplane you get into. And then on the other side of the library, there's the books, and they're often looking a bit sad, a bit shabby. And the message is, here's the play space, have a lot of fun. Here's the book space, be a bit bored. Now, that's not a good message. We've got to get the books and the adventure connecting back up. And this is how we do it. The Reading Hideaway, just behind you, is a fantastic unit. And we've already had somebody's child in it already today. I think there's no children who've been in this show walking past who haven't got in it. From age about 3 up to really too old, about 12, 13. Can I ever go? They all want to get in it. Here you can see, quite often we get 2 or 3 kids in it. They line up in the UK to use it. And you can take a book off the outside, and then you curl up inside. It's got that secrecy, that privacy, that den-like feeling, which is really nice. This is the read and play tunnel, that's just behind you there. This is for under 5s, and it displays the picture books at just the right height, which is lovely. But it's also a tunnel you can crawl through, so it's got the play value. And the nice thing about it is the tunnel has a mirror. So when you go inside, you see reflections of yourself, and the kids love that. It also means it slows them down a bit. Kids experience the world physically, and we want them to have that experience while they're reading, but we don't want them running and jumping like in an outside playground. So this gives a physical experience, but slows it down a little bit. And I just want to go back to this one. I like this photo because this is proof of something we've done a lot in the UK. The Hideaway works really well for boys. If you dress it with the right kind of books, aged about 7 to 10, for boys, they will go and choose from it. It's much cooler than going to the standard bookshelves. Works really well. There's the kids going through the tunnel in the library. Here you can see both together. And their Showpiece, you know, they've really made that library into something special, but it's the books that have done it. And lastly, I want to talk a little bit about the work we've done to solve on-shelf problems. Here's the typical library problem of shelving. Often our shelves are not full because we don't know how many books we're going to have at any one time. Yep, and it can be very, very busy when they all come back, and then it's a little bit empty at other times. Now again, for the people who love libraries, this is no problem. They look at that, and yeah, they know there's good books in there. For people not used to libraries, I sometimes bring people in off the street and say, what do you think? And what they say is, well, I knew libraries were having a bad time. I didn't know they were closing down. And the assumption is, if the shelves are as empty as that, you must be closing down. Of course, it's not true, but that's what people think. So we have to be aware of that, I think. How do we solve it? This is a very simple little bit of acrylic which helps to do that. We call it a feature filler. Here's one here. Brings a book face forward to the front of the shelf, but it's strong enough, it's got big sides to hold all the other books up. You know when you have one of those little wobbly wire stands, and you put a book on it and somebody takes it, all the books either side fall off. They all fall over and you get in a mess again. These really nicely tidy it up. So it acts as shelf tidy as well as a display unit. And if you take a book off it, there's a nice little reader quote, a graphic, behind, so it doesn't look empty. People get a little surprise. Here's some examples. Non-fiction, quite often can look quite boring. Pick a few covers like that, people will take them. The ones turned face forward, always go. That's a very bookshop look. And it's actually the cookery section of a library. It's not a bookstore at all the books are different. There's no multiples there at all. Arts and crafts, home and garden. And there's the effect. When you take the book off, you get the little surprise of the quotation behind it. We do the quotations for different age groups. The one on the left is for the youngest children. The one on the right, a little older. These are from real kids, things they've said to us. And this is where you can get really clever using these for display. These are the same books. On the left, it looks like it's all sewing. On the right, it looks like it's all gardening. And that took 2 minutes to do. So very quickly, you can give a different emphasis to the way your books look. And the result is people will say to you, I didn't know you had so many new books. And you've no new books at all. You're just displaying the books that you've got much better. We also have here the Showpiece Shell, which will turn a whole row face forward wherever you want it. Put it wherever you need in the library, move it about, you don't have to keep it in the same place. You can use it on any shelving. Very simple, very effective. And we have a lovely little reader-to-reader frame. This is to make a comment from one reader to another to recommend a book. And we've got some freebies to give away at the end of this presentation. We do reader-to-reader for the adults, and me to you for the children. This is a book about our work, and I'm going to give away one signed copy at the end of this session. If you want to read more, it's also available online. Oh, going the wrong way. I wanted to tell you just lastly about the online training course that we run. We have about 10,000 staff across the country, across the world, who have been taking our online training. We have a new course which is specifically designed for American librarians, and every exercise in it uses American books. This is the kind of thing that you do. This here's a books to go pod, and here you have a lot of books to choose from. That moves on the live site, and with your mouse you lift the books onto the book pod and you dress it. You're given different tasks and dressing it for different audiences, and when you're happy with what you've got, you save it, and then your online mentor looks at what you've done and comes back with feedback on how you might make it better. Then you go and have a go in the library, you take a photograph of what you've done, you upload that to the site, you have a discussion about that too. Very practical, you can learn a lot. A lot of the work we do is around book covers. Here's another page from the online training course, which is talking about how to use graphic style in order to dress maybe one of these units to look good. How to get books which are not necessarily the most new ones back out and get them noticed. 95% of UK library services use the furniture that I've been showing you today. The books to go table, the book pods, the reading hideaway, the reading play tunnel, all the acrylics on here. Why? I think there are three very simple reasons. It's loved by library patrons because it makes choosing so easy. People go up to it, they take the books. It's very, very simple. It's loved by library staff because it's so easy to merchandise. It makes the job more interesting and gives you the tools to do it properly. And it's loved by library directors because it increases circulation performance, and we all want that. So thank you very much for listening. If you get your badge scanned, there's a few freebies, and I'm going to give away one copy of our book to the person sitting in the lucky seat. Thank you very much.